Carolyn Dube here. Today I'm playing on a piece of cardboard that I cut off of I think it was an Amazon box that came in the mail. With this, all the color that's on here, I did this another day. You can even see in the top left corner a piece of one of the sparks of Artspiration. How I went about doing this, the technique for this was really just my sort of loosening up and trying to thwart my inner critic. I have a video that is for newsletter subscribers, and you get it as soon as you sign up for the newsletter. I'll have a link down below if you want to go see that. And if you're in my newsletter and haven't seen the video yet, look at the bottom of the latest newsletter and you'll see a link to it down there. But anyway, on to this piece. So I've got this picture that's been kicking around in my studio, floating around, and just hasn't found a home yet. Do you know that kind of thing where you really like it, but you just can't seem to find the right place for it? Well, finally, I'm thinking this is the place for it. That is an old black and white photo of strangers. I happened to buy a bunch of old photos, and I just put some paint on them to get a little color on it, because you know me, gotta add a little color to something. Right now I'm getting the Spanish Inquisition from my inner critic going, are you sure that's where you want it? Do you think it's centered in the right place? Do you think it's going to add balance? Oh, I don't care, inner critic. I like it here, so I'm just going to stick it down here. By sticking it down here, it shuts my inner critic up because it's done. By putting it down with double-sided adhesive, to pull it up most likely will rip the picture, so decisions made, not a problem anymore. Well, I decided to get back at my inner critic with this one. So I've got this stencil here. I'm using a heavy-bodied acrylic paint, and as I'm moving it, watch, see the stencil slip. Ha ha! To that perfect, one-it-all, so precise inner critic. Ha 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 ha! It slipped, and I don't care. On to my next stencil. Decided to go with the Butterfly Duo from Maria Maguire. Got a heavy-bodied orange paint here. Really want to make it pop. Unfortunately, I'm going to run into a problem because this is one bright background. Didn't really turn out the way I thought, because when I lift it up, all this great butterfly stuff is just kind of lost on there. But that's not a mistake, it's just an oops, an outstanding opportunity that presented suddenly, so all I'm going to do is fill in the butterfly so now it can really stand out and pop. Next, I'm going to use the Trident stencil just to get a little more color on there. I know, like I need more color, but I felt I did. I need more color. I wasn't sure what I wanted for the title with this, so I looked at my Use Your Words stencil to see which word really called to me, and the word sacred really spoke to me. And that got me thinking about the picture and what I'm doing here, and it's about those sacred moments. They aren't fancy, it's those everyday moments. That's where the joy is in things. That's what the thing to be treasured in those moments. So I'm going to go with the word sacred. And what I'm doing is this is a charcoal pencil, and I am tracing around the word. What I'm trying to do is basically get an outline that I can fill in with paint. But this pencil really didn't work, so I went and grabbed my favorite Prismacolor gray pencil, basically a colored pencil, and now I could actually get the lines to work around it. Before, with the charcoal pencil, it was such a thick pencil, it just wasn't showing up. What I'm going to do now is find a small brush that is about as wide as the actual letters that I've traced. That'll make it really easy for me to draw it in or fill it in with paint. And part of it is just finding the right color that, and I'd add a little white, add a little green. It's that Goldilocks thing, trying to find what's just right for it. Oh, wait, is that my inner critic that I spot? Why, I guess it is. Well, guess what, inner critic? It doesn't have to be perfect, because you can always add another layer to it. So like when I hit the edge of the photo here, it is just not going to be perfect, but you know what? It doesn't have to be, because this isn't brain surgery. I expect brain surgery to be very accurate and precise. This is a piece of cardboard and color play. And it did strike me that the brush with the blue on it over there is about to dry out, so I better put in water. So I'm going to use the last little bits of paint on it, just around the edges, because why waste any of the paint? After I'm all done getting a little more color on this, because yes, I need more color, that's going to go in and get cleaned up. Well, now I've brought out my oil pastels, and with this, I am just kind of grabbing what colors call to me. I can definitely tell when I'm playing it safe. And when I'm playing it safe, a lot of that is the inner critic that is just shouting at me to not screw this up. Don't mess it up. You like it. You don't want to mess it up. Don't mess it up. Well, at some point I kind of get tired of hearing that. And that good old inner teenager in me says, I'm going to do what I want to do. And that's when I start grabbing bolder colors, making more marks, basically telling that inner critic to jump in a lake. And I usually don't like my handwriting, but I really like it here because it's the sacred everyday that I am just feeling and thinking about as I'm working with this photo on this piece of cardboard. Well, as much as I like my handwriting, there's a limit to how much I'm actually going to put on a page or a thing. So I'm going to use my little handy dandy word stamp here. And all I'm doing is lining up the letters because I want to say sacred moments, because those sacred moments in every day, you know, the fact that this is made with cardboard from every day that I would normally think or throwing out, by using it as the background for this, it's just really showing to me all the beauty in the everyday. And so I'm going to pull out my handy dandy permanent ink pad here. Now, I'm not crazy. I'm going to test this out because sometimes I make mistakes with these. And so I want to test it and make sure I've got the words turned the right way. And yes, I do. It looks good. I want to pull off any excess ink, on those little lines on the edge that I always seem to, there's the proof that it was stamped, that kind of stuff. So when I put it on the ink pad, I'm going to be really careful and not put that on it so I don't get those funny black lines up there. I'm going to stamp it where do I want it? I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to stamp it down. It's going to be fantastic. And I like where it's spaced. Oh, I got a little of that black on there. Well, you know what? I've got this white over here on my palette. I'm just going to put a little white over it. That'll cover it up. And I actually like how that bit of white looks there. So a perfect oops got me something I didn't expect. And then as I look at this, I notice something. Do you see what I did? The word moments, I have all the letters. They're just not in the right order. And that is so classically me. The funny part is I even checked it. The fact that I even checked it. So it is one of those sacred moments in our family when I screw up even the simplest of words. I pulled out a Stabilo pencil and I'm going to add some journaling to this. And you know what? I don't like my handwriting there. So in taking just a wet paper towel on that, now I've actually got this great shading. Oops, how perfect. And you know what? I am actually going to put some journaling on here that I'll be able to read and other people will be able to read. You know what? I'm going to do that. I know I don't usually like my handwriting, but I'm going to take that risk today. And yeah, okay, I need some more black lines on there. Really like that. So I'm going to add little bits of black lines from the Stabilo pencil and then taking a wet Q-tip, kind of blend it around and give my butterfly a little more definition here. And I keep looking at this and I can't do it. I can't handle the handwriting. I got to go over it. So more of my feelings are being written in this, but I just couldn't handle looking at that handwriting. I'm going to outline the word sacred, just to have it stand out a little bit more, give it some definition, make that really pop as the title. This is a white Stabilo, and I'm putting it over the oil pastel words and around my stamping word, just to try and make it pop. Yes, my good old moments. Gonna make that pop a little bit more. Few touches, and I think this one's finished. Well, thanks for hanging out with me as I played art journal style. If you've enjoyed this, if you've had fun watching, hopefully you've laughed along with me, and it's okay if you laughed at me on this video, because I sure earned it with good old moments. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this, I would love it if you would share it. Facebook, Twitter, Google+, or wherever you're comfortable. Every time things are shared, that totally bribes the muse to get me back in the studio to making more videos for you. And a huge colorful thank you to everybody that supports what I do.